the number one person on your list. And for us, the number one person was Bobby Petrino. He and I began discussions about our head coaching position on Saturday afternoon, and we had multiple conversations throughout the day and evening. Based on his tremendous resume, along with his interest, optimism, and vision for our program, it was clear he was exactly what we were looking for. We had further discussions on Sunday, and then flew he and his wife Becky, who I'm happy to say is also with us today. Flew them to Bowling Green last night, and today we finalized the contract for him to become our next head football coach. I stated on Saturday that our next head coach had to be someone who was a consistent winner. Bobby Petrino is the only head coach in college football history to lead two different schools to their first BCS Bowl appearances. In Coach Petrino's 8 seasons as a college football head coach, he has compiled a 75-26 record and led his teams to bowl games in 7 of his 8 seasons, including appearances in the Orange Bowl with Louisville and the Sugar and Cotton Bowls at Arkansas. His 2004 Louisville team ranked 6th in the nation in the final Associated Press Bowl, while his 2016 won the Orange Bowl and finished 5th in the nation. And the combined record of those two teams was 23-2. His 2010 Arkansas team won 10 games, went to the Sugar Bowl, and finished the season ranked 12th in the nation. His 2011 team finished 11-2, defeated Kansas State in the Cotton Bowl, and finished the season ranked 10th in the nation. Another highlight of his 30-year career, which spans both collegiate football and the National Football League, is the ability to recruit and develop individuals as both players and people. Each of his teams at Louisville and Arkansas annually exceeded the NCAA's academic performance rate, and under his guidance, Arkansas football achieved the highest seasonal grade point average in program history. Arkansas also had 48 players named to the SEC's all-academic team during his tenure. Quite simply, the name Bobby Petrino is synonymous with consistent success at the highest level. He and his wife Becky have long-standing roots in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. As you know, Coach Petrino served as both an assistant and head coach at the University of Louisville. Their daughter Kelsey graduated from Louisville 3 years ago. Their daughter Katie is currently a redshirt sophomore on the golf team. And it is great to now have the Petrino family join the WKU family in Bowling Green. We often talk about key events and our program's rise. So please join me in celebrating a landmark moment as we welcome Western Kentucky University's 18th all-time head football coach, Bobby Petrino.
Thank you. I'm extremely grateful to be given the opportunity to become Western Kentucky's head football coach. My wife Becky and I consider this coming home. We have children that are here in the state, and we've been here, and it's great to be able to come back to the state that we love. This was a family decision. When we looked at it and sat down and talked, we felt like this was something that was best for our family, a place where we wanted to be, and I'm extremely grateful for Todd Stewart and Dr. Ranzel giving us the opportunity and to come back and lead the program here. I also want to thank Willie Taggart. Willie did an excellent job here. He set the foundation for success, and that's what I am looking forward to, is building on the foundation that Willie and his staff have set for the standards here. My vision for Western Kentucky University's football is to take it to the next level. Just like you do as a football coach, where everything works in a progression, where you go from step A to step B, or what we say, you crawl before you walk before you run. That's what I see us doing here at WKU. We need to consistently, every year, go to a bowl game. We need to win a conference championship and be in the run for a conference championship every single year. We need to get in a position where we're ranked in the top 25 And we need to get in a position where we can compete to be in a BCS bowl game. That's where we see our program going. And when you look at the Boise States of the world and the teams that have been able to do that, that is our expectations. That's where we feel that we have the opportunity to go. I believe in competing and excelling on the football field. I think that's the number one thing you can do for a young man, is to teach him how to excel on the football field. But I also really believe in the student athlete, and I'm committed to the student athlete. And I want our players to understand that they need to embrace learning. They need to make sure they understand they're here to get a degree, and that being a football player is part of their total college experience. And I was able to meet with the team today, got to talk to a lot of the players. They're going through finals right now, and it was great to see how excited they are and how well that they have done academically here, and I'm excited to try to build and improve on that. It's important for everybody, the Hilltopper faithful and everybody, to come out and support this team as it goes to the bowl game. I think that's something that I would really like to see, is that we honor the senior group by getting great support, going to Detroit, and winning the upcoming bowl game. When I look at the senior class, I see the transition they made, how they went from being a 1AA school to transitioning to Division I football, to winning games, to now taking the school to the first ever bowl game. And I'm so excited for them. I'm looking forward to them going out and performing and doing a great job. The way that we're going to handle that is I'm going to basically be here to help recruit, I'm going to be here to evaluate and let Coach Guidry coach the bowl game, and let the players continue with the consistency that they've had. And all I asked them to do today was to make sure they've done what they have all year, to prepare like they have, practice like they have, and then go out and perform on December 26th like they have all year long. I'm honored to sit in front of you and as the head coach of Western Kentucky University. Your support is very gratifying and humbling, and I will come to this stadium every day and give my all to these student athletes, to this university, and to Hilltopper Nation. And with that, we'll just open it up for questions.
Again, if you'll raise your hand, they'll bring you the microphone for questions.
Coach, I've got a couple of questions here. I don't know if you can hear with this microphone. One, do you anticipate any difficulties recruiting? How would you deal with going into homes, given your recent troubles of just 8 months ago? And two, you've got two SEC teams on the schedule really quickly, Kentucky and Tennessee, two teams that just hired new coaches. I'm wondering if they gave you any interest in that job, if you talked to them at all, and whether that adds to your excitement about being able to try to prove them wrong early in the season.
Well, you know, the first question is about recruiting, and recruiting is really about building relationships. It's not going to happen in one phone call or one visit on campus or one visit into the home. It's really about building relationships. But I'm going to be able to sit down with mom and dad and with the student athlete and make them understand how this experience has made me a better coach, a better person, and will make me understand their son better. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity that I'll be able to give student athletes when they make a mistake. And, you know, it reminds me of a guy that I had at the University of Arkansas. He made a mistake over the summer. There was a lot of people that told me that I should have removed him from the team. I thought about it, decided to give him a second chance, and now he has a degree in his pocket. He had a good senior year. He's out working hard and has shown that he's defined by what you do after you make a mistake, not by the mistake. And then I'll be able to let the parents know that, you know, what I believe in that we can do for their young man. And that is, one, teach him how to excel on the field. teach them how to have self-confidence and get better every day. And we teach players to have high expectations and really stick to them and work to those high expectations, even if other people and when other people tell you you can't do that. So I'm really looking forward to getting out on the road and getting into the homes and to be able to do that.
And about the Tennessee and Kentucky?
Well, we're excited about opening up against two SEC schools and the challenges that that presents. And, you know, it gives you opportunity to work hard in the off season and motivate you to get up at 6 a.m. in the summer and run. And so you really use those games as a great motivational factor.
Any trepidation on your part, given coach's track record, moving through schools? Was there any assurances you had between each other?
Well, obviously, we talked about a lot of things, and we've had countless conversations. And, you know, the thing that I wanted to make the most clear last Saturday, you know, when I was asked, what do you need in the new coach? What are your goals? The most important thing for me, and what I said then and what we will always say is, we always have to be getting better, okay? And we always have to, when we ask the question at the end of a season, are you better today than you were a year ago? We always want that answer to be yes. And we want it to be yes with an exclamation point, meaning it was much better. And when I analyzed who we had available as coaching candidates, and I looked at Coach Petrino's resume and I talked to him, I mean, it was so apparent to me that he was the best person that gave us the best possible chance to say yes with an exclamation point after that question each year.
Was there any internal clearance within the university? Was this a hard sell to anyone at the university? Was this decision accepted? You said he was your number one choice right away.
Well, he was, you know, and it was an interesting year because, as our local media knows, we made a tremendous effort to keep Coach Taggart, and the Bowling Green community was a big part of that. And there's a lot of supporters here, and some we weren't able to make it today that I can't thank enough for their support. We made every effort to keep Coach Taggart because of what he stood for and what he did. But at the same time, I was certainly realistic and knew that there was a chance that he could leave, and we couldn't sit on our hands. And so we kind of had two battle plans going in October. One was a plan to keep Coach Taggart. Another was a plan of what do we do if he leaves, because I knew that was a definite possibility. So the research into this started long before Saturday. You know, the research into this started in October. And, you know, I worked in the NFL, and I worked under a man that was so good at what he did. His name was Bill Polian with the Indianapolis Colts. And I remember on draft day with the Colts, you know, in the NFL, you have your draft board, and there's 6 to 9 months of analysis that goes into those draft boards, and every team ranks their players, 1 through whatever. And as the draft day unfolds, things happen, and people have a tendency to kind of stray from the analysis or stray from what their research tells them they should do. And I remember him saying clearly to our scouts and our coaches, on draft day, men, the board talks to you. And what he meant was, you've done all this research over a period of time, you've ranked the players, now draft according to that. And that's how we approached this. We did a lot of research, you know, going back well before Saturday, and we had a lot of candidates, and there are a lot of good ones that were out there and are still out there. But he was number one. Coach Petrino was number one. So when you can get number one, I think you do everything you can to do it. And I am very, very happy he's sitting next to me here today as our new head football coach.
Coach Petrino, you've had a wild and crazy 8 months, and there's been a lot of coaching jobs filled since then. Can you reflect upon what that 8 months has been like for you personally, and also, did you believe that this opportunity was going to happen for you this season, and how excited are you that it did?
You know, I basically have spent the last 8 months working with my family, you know, trying to make things right with my wife Becky and my children. We've been in counseling and have learned a lot. Learned a lot about myself and a lot about, you know, what to do. I'm really excited about this opportunity. I didn't know if I would get it or if I would not, you know, so it came down to this being a family decision. This is being what we wanted to do, how we want to move forward. And, you know, I'm just excited to be here and anxious to get started.
Bobby, Dan Wolf with USA Today. Curious, how many schools did you speak with about openings this year, and why jump back in so soon, given what just happened in your life?
Well, I think, there were a number of people that I've had contact with and conversation with, and there was a couple at the time when Todd gave me a call. I was so impressed with the passion and the vision and the excitement of Todd and in his voice every time that we talked, and how it progressed throughout the day, that this went right to the top of the list. And then it was a fit for everything, for what we wanted to do, what we want to get, how we want to get going and progress as a family. Football has always been part of my life. I grew up a coach's son. I was on the sideline, when I was 9 and 10 years old, and players were locking me in the locker. And it's never been a job for me. It's always been a way of life. And it's been that way for my children and for Becky. And it was time to get back into what we all love and what we all know real well at this time. So we're excited about it.
This is for Todd. Bobby was fired at his last job, and how extensive were your conversations with him about what happened at Arkansas at the end? And did you talk to Jeff Long, and what expectations do you have for him moving forward?
Well, I talked to a lot of people, and Coach Petrino and I discussed that in detail, and he was very candid and very open and very honest. And, Rick, I think, what it comes down to is he made a big mistake, and he acknowledges that, and he's taken ownership of that, and he's paid a heavy price for it. But this is the United States of America, and we're a country of second chances. And I was confident after talking with him and talking to other people that he deserved a second chance, and we are more than happy to give it to him.
When do you anticipate reevaluating the current coaching staff, and do you anticipate bringing in any new coaches?
Well, I get the opportunity to be here for 2 weeks and to get to know all the coaches. I had a brief meeting with them today, but I'll have the opportunity to get to know them, to get out and practice and watch them work. I'm going to meet individually with each coach. I told them I understand how great a job you did this year and how much you've elevated this program, and I'm just looking forward to being able to sit down and interview you and get to know you.
Bobby, I suspect, I don't know that you've been away from football as much as you have in the last months. I wonder just how much you have paid attention to the national landscape. And you mentioned being able to tell parents that maybe you're a different coach. How do you expect to be a different coach after all?
Well, Eric, it was 8 months of working with my family, and then to stay in the game. I was able to acquire video on the weeks and watch video and study college football. Wanted to make sure that it didn't pass me by, and we kept up with what was new and what was going on. What was the second part of the question?
How do you expect to be maybe different than you were?
Yeah, I think when I look at it, I'm still going to be very focused. I'm still going to be very driven and, very demanding. I think that's how you have success. But I'm going to coach the person now more, not just the player. I'm going to see the young man that walks out of the cafeteria with a different look on his face and spend more time understanding, hey, what's going on? What are the obstacles in his life, and how can I help him overcome those obstacles? So I think that's the number one thing that I've learned from this is I can even be more of an influence outside of football in a young man's life than just on the football field.
Coach, you're following a coach in Willie Taggart that was beloved by the students, the community being that he from the school here. How do you plan on getting yourself involved, not just with the football team, but with the local community?
Yeah, I love Willie too. He's a guy that you love. I got to see him firsthand as a player when I was an assistant coach at the University of Louisville, and they were running the option, and it was kind of like a tennis game. It was that way, that way. They went up and down the field. We went up and down the field. I remember our assistant coaches in the box complaining about our defense, and I said, "Don't worry about it, guys. This lets us keep our offense in and keep scoring." So, and then I've known Willie on the recruiting trail, and you know, this is where he graduated. He's got his number retired. But Becky and I are very excited about getting out in the community and getting to know everybody and becoming a big part of the Hilltopper family.
You thought at all about what you're going to say to the players if they have any questions about your last year? I assume that's come up at least. This will be the first time you address a football team after all of these events. Have you thought about what you're going to say?
Yeah, I talked to the team today, but the message today was really about the bowl game and the seniors and how to conduct yourself at the bowl and finals. But when we come back and we meet again after Christmas as a team, you know, it's going to be about getting up and telling them about what happened. We've always had a cardinal rule of know the difference between right and wrong and choose to do what's right. And I didn't follow that. I made that mistake. I knew the difference between right and wrong, and I chose the wrong avenue to go. So I'm going to make sure that, you know, I'm honest with them. I put it all out on the table, and I think that will help them understand and how we should go forward.
This question's for Todd. Saturday you said that you had presented a term sheet to Willie Taggart that would make him the highest paid coach in the conference. Could you elaborate on how that term sheet compares to Bobby's? And then, Bobby, earlier you mentioned elevating the program to go to a BCS level. When do you expect to start competing for BCS ball?
Well, the term sheets are very similar, and Coach Petrino now is the highest paid coach in the Sun Belt Conference, as he should be, based on his resume and his credentials. And the thing that, you know, I feel so good about, and I think we should be so proud about, Northern Illinois is in the Orange Bowl this year. Their coach is leaving. The coach next to me, that's going to be our coach next year, has been to the Orange Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, and he's at Western Kentucky.
You know, as far as when you get there, you never know that. You don't have a crystal ball. But what I do believe is, and my father used to say this when I was 5 years old and carry it all the way through my life, is that you reach for the top of the rainbow. You set your expectations high. You're not afraid of them. You're able to verbalize them. That's one of the things that I think I can really teach our players is we're going to set goals. We're going to set high expectations. We're not going to be afraid to tell anybody that this is what we want to get done, and we're going to go out every day and work as hard as we possibly can until we reach that goal.
Coach Petrino, given your career history and relative stature of this program, is there anything you can say to the Western Kentucky community to reassure them that this is not simply a stepping stone?
You know, when I'm at this point in my career, it's really about getting back and coaching the players. And, you know, like I said earlier, this is a family decision. This is a place that happened to open up in a place where we love as a family. And you can't know what the future is going to hold, but we try to do some things contractually that shows the commitment that we're making to the university and to the student athletes. And we hope that we can be here for as long as possible.
Todd, along those lines, what would you say to some Western Kentucky people who say, you know, Coach Petrino, great hire and everything, but it's only, as he said, only a stepping stone, and he's going to be here maybe a year or two. What would you say to those people?
Well, I know he's very happy to be back, you know, with his family here in Kentucky, and you know, I know how much he missed it the year he was out. That was one of the things we talked about. You know, how much he actually missed coaching, and he wanted to get back in, and thought at this stage of the career this would be a very good spot for him. I'm confident that he'll be here for a while. I certainly hope that he's here for a long time. But I think what it really comes down to is, are we getting better every year? And if we're getting better every year and we're going to places that we haven't been before, that's the primary goal. You know, no one person is bigger than the program. It's about the program. And the important thing is that the program continues to develop and get better and go to places that it's never been before. And you need a field general to give you the best chance to have that happen. And Coach Petrino is the best one out there for us. I think there was a follow-up there, Jeremy, maybe.
And since President Ransdell isn't here, what kind of discussions did you have with him about Coach Petrino? Did he express any concerns?
None whatsoever. He's an outstanding president. Those of you that are around our program on a regular basis know that he's a brilliant man. All you have to do is look at our campus and see how much it's changed in the last 15 years to see what his impact is. And he and I talk all the time, and we talked last week. Again, we tried as hard as we possibly could to keep Coach Taggart, but we knew there was a possibility that he might not be here. And so we had talked about what we would do, and certainly Coach, like I said, the stack the draft board analogy. I mean, that was Coach Petrino was number one on the list because of many, many months of research. And then when Coach Taggart left Friday, and we tried as hard as we could to keep him. You can ask Kyle Allen. Kyle was next to me when I talked to Coach Taggart. The last conversation we had Friday night, the last plea, so to speak, the last Hail Mary, that fortunately wasn't completed. We did everything we could to keep him. But as soon as he made the decision to leave, then it was all about how do we get better? Who can come here and make us even better? And that was Coach Petrino.
Logistically, a lot of talk about the BCS. You're taking two programs to the first BCS Bowl. Can you talk about will there be any adjustments made, what it takes as a Sun Belt program scheduling in the future to make that a reality for this program? And then also a question for Coach in terms of your offensive system. It's a little bit different of what you have versus what's been run here. How long do you think a transition like that takes to get your offense up?
I thought the first question was for you.
You want to clarify that a little bit? Yeah. I don't want to get into offensive philosophy.
No, it wasn't about the offense.
The first question would be logistically, any scheduling changes to, as far as the Group of Five goes in the new system, to have a Sun Belt program like Western Kentucky eligible for a BCS Bowl. Can you talk about that? Will there be any scheduling changes in the future, something that you can do that pushes the program towards what like a Northern Illinois did this year?
Well, we're always looking at that. I think you referenced the Group of Five. For those who don't know, what that means is beginning in the year 2014, the highest ranked team among the new Group of Five, which will be the Big East, the Sun Belt Conference, Conference USA, the Mountain West Conference, and the MAC, the highest ranked team of those five conferences automatically goes to a BCS Bowl. So the entry to a BCS Bowl is easier than it's ever been. It's not easy, don't get me wrong. It's not easy, but it's easier than it's been. So the key is, and we've already talked about it, and we'll talk about it a lot in terms of scheduling, and you have to schedule smart. We need to play a strong non-conference schedule for a number of reasons. Obviously fans want to see good teams play, and I think a good non-conference schedule prepares you for conference play. And certainly TV and other opportunities are there if you have a good non-conference schedule. But we want to do it the right way, and we want to do it the smart way, and I look forward to discussing that with Coach Petrino. Our schedule was set through 2014, so the next 2 years are set. But certainly moving forward, I would value his input on that.
As far as the transition to the offense, that's going to be part of this week, is to sit down in the video room and be able to watch all the games from last year, see the guys that are coming back. It was very impressive to watch how they ran the ball and the power running game, and then how they put that together with throwing the ball down the field off the play action. I do believe in running the football, and it makes play action game very easy, allows you to get big plays, have spread it out a little bit more and threw the ball more. So I guess it's just to determine what type of wide receivers are here, how quickly we have to recruit to that position. But I think the fact that there's such a good base of tight ends and offensive linemen, that makes your job easier.
Less than 9 months since you played Kentucky in national, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you anticipate now that you hired Bobby Petrino, Kentucky trying to buy out of that game? Anything at all?
Now, Now, Brent, how do you want me to answer that? Yeah. I would not anticipate that. Mitch Barnhart and I have a great relationship. I've known Mitch for a long, long time, and I would certainly expect them to play that game. But you know, I'm actually glad you asked that question because we beat them this year, and a lot was made out of that. But one thing that really I don't think got reported as much as it should have been, and I sincerely mean this, is how much credit they deserve for scheduling that series. Because when Rich Brooks and Mitch Barnhart agreed to that 4-year series, that didn't benefit the University of Kentucky at the time. It benefited Western Kentucky University. They gave us an opportunity. They didn't have to do that. And I think what they did not only was helpful for our program in terms of giving us that opportunity, it's good for college football. Because when you have those type of intrastate games, you look around the nation in a lot of states, you don't have those types of games. And I think it's healthy for the state. It's healthy for the fan base. They deserve a lot of credit for scheduling that series. They really do. And, you know, there's one more year left of it, and I certainly expect us to be playing August 31st in Nashville.
Coach, how much have you been able to look at the commits that have already committed to Western Kentucky, and follow-up to that is, what is your plan as far as we're going to talk to those families? Is that first on your priority list?
Yeah, you know, as the week goes, the first thing I have to do tomorrow is take the recruiting test. And once I pass that, and I anticipate that I'll pass it, I get to get on the phone and immediately talk to those guys that have already committed, or the guys that are, you know, on the list that we're recruiting. And I have until Friday to get out on the road, and this is really the last week of contact prior to the dead period over Christmas. So hopefully I'll be able to get out on the road quickly, get into the homes or schools of those guys that are committed. It would be great if everyone that committed stayed that way, but you also have to evaluate everything about them. You have to evaluate their transcripts, how they're doing academically, where they're at. So it's just the process will get started tomorrow right after the test.
And while you're taking the microphone, on Michael's question about President Ransdell, you know, last night when we went to pick up Coach Petrino, President Ransdell's in China right now, and he was fully engaged in this. And there's a 14-hour time difference, and we were coordinating the best time for him to call so he could speak to Bobby and Becky last night. And I know they certainly had a good conversation.
Yeah, it was a great conversation.
Todd, you said Saturday night, I mean Friday night is when you knew for sure that Willie was leaving, and you waited then until Saturday until you called Bobby, and then for Bobby, did either you or any of your representatives, did you feel like you were engaged or had a chance at any other job?
You mean
You called him on Saturday?
I actually texted him Friday night. I did, yeah. And my wife nags me for getting on my phone, but it was but I texted him Friday night, and I said, are you available tomorrow to talk? And I knew that he knew what that would mean, and he got back to me quickly and said that he was, and then we agreed at noon to talk, and that was our first conversation was Saturday at noon, and it was the first of a lot, I guess, on that day, yeah.
Yeah, he almost texted me on Saturday because I think it was 11:38 on Friday night is when the text came in, but you know, we've had conversations with other universities, but like I said, this was the best fit. This is the one I was so impressed with Todd and his aggressiveness and his passion and excitement, and then to be able to talk to Dr. Ransdell and to see the common vision and the commitment from the administration. And that's what I understand always gives you the chance to be very successful, is when the administration, athletic department, and the head coach all have the same commitment and vision, you have a great chance to be successful.
Todd, you talked earlier about your relationship with Mitch Barnhart. Is there any chance that another series will be scheduled in the future? Are you working on that?
We talked about that, and you know, we've played them 4 straight years now after next year, and we actually played before that. And you know, I think people schedule, you know, it's great for us, but you know, like I said, we are set through the next couple years, and our conference is scheduled to go to a 9-game conference schedule instead of an 8-game conference schedule, so there's less opportunity. So we don't have anything, right now planned. I mean, certainly, we would welcome the opportunity to play the University of Kentucky, but we're grateful for the 4-year series that they agreed to. And Louisville has been the same way in basketball. I mean, we're in the second 4-year basketball series that we've had with Louisville. I mean, and Coach Petrino with the first year was up, and he agreed to, along with Tom Jurich, obviously, they agreed to extend that for 4 years. And again, that's great. I mean, and that's great for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I wish more states had working relationships like that because I think that's great for the fans.
With the 2-week build-up to the bowl, your first bowl game now, how much do you think hiring a high-profile name like Bobby Petrino only enhances the branding of WKU on the national level?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. There's more people in this room right now than I think I saw at any game this year. Yeah. Referring to the Topper Club, not the whole stadium. But we're proud of the attendance we had. I mean, it was the highest single season attendance in the 94-year history of the program. But it can get better. I mean, it can get better. It was top heavy. It was the first half of the year was outstanding. I mean, those crowds for Southern Miss and Louisiana Monroe were terrific, and they made a difference. I mean, they inspired our guys, but that's how we needed every game. And I think he brings so much to the table. I mean, his player development. I mean, he develops people as athletes, but he develops them as people too. The winning history we talked about. He's an outstanding recruiter. He'll be great in the community. He'll be a terrific ambassador for our football program. He'll expand the brand. I mean, he'll expand it nationwide. I know that there's national media that have checked in today and no doubt will for quite some time that we weren't on their radar, despite the fact that we're in a bowl game. And now we are. So his impact will be tremendous.
Todd, you talked about candor and taking responsibility for mistakes, second chances, etc. Are you satisfied that there is not a character question here that needs to be resolved? And if so, how did you become satisfied?
I am satisfied, Tim, and just because we talked candidly about it, and Coach Petrino was very candid and in ways he didn't have to be. There were questions obviously that I wanted to ask, and he volunteered information before I even asked certain questions, and we talked about it, and I talked to other people about it. I mean, certainly that's something that we looked into, but we all make mistakes. I mean, we all make mistakes, and I think the most important thing is that if you admit to it and you take ownership and you change, and I'm convinced from the conversations that I've had with him and other people that know him very well that he is a better man and a better coach today because of it.
Relative to the attendance, this team won this year. It won big relative to prior years, and yet you mentioned the attendance was lacking in a lot of areas. Did you feel forced to make a high cachet, high PR hire because of that?
No, I don't. I don't think it was lacking. I mean, it was the best season we've had in 94 years per game average. I don't think it was lacking, but the last half of the season we weren't able to sustain it. And that goes with winning and losing. No, we somebody asked me before, did you hire Coach Petrino because of it? Was it a gimmick? And I'm like, a gimmick? Are you kidding me? I mean, this guy's 75-26. He's been to a bowl game 7 of the last 8 years. That's not a gimmick. That's high-level success. That's why we hired him. We didn't hire him we hired him because he's an outstanding football coach. And he is the guy to lead our program to places it's never been. I'm convinced of that beyond a shadow of a doubt. And there's a lot of positive things that come with that, that come with success at that level. But we hired him because he's an outstanding football coach. That's the reason we hired him. Well, the good thing is that our ticket sales were the highest this year that they'd ever been, and so we exceeded our budgeted revenue on ticket sales. And we also, as part of Coach Taggart's buyout clause, receive a lot of money that wasn't budgeted revenue. So Coach Petrino's salary is able to be sustained by our normal budget revenue. However, we will be having conversations moving forward because where we all want to take this program, will require everybody to be all in. Where we want to take it, It's made giant strides, but it's not where it needs to be. And in order to grow it, we need complete community buy-in.
Coach, what do you think has been the most difficult thing or the biggest challenge for you?
Yeah, I've never been good on the most or the biggest. I think it's the process. What we need to do is get started tomorrow with the process, get out and recruit, evaluate. You know, recruiting is a couple different things. Number one, it's evaluating, making sure you get players that fit your system, that can come in and excel. And then it's about selling the university. So it's going to start with the recruiting. Soon as the bowl game's over, we'll evaluate and look at the staff, get the staff together, start teaching and implementing what our schemes are going to be for spring football, and basically improving every day. You know, I think that's the number one thing that I believe in with our student athletes is it all starts in the weight room in the off season, and to be able to have the mindset that I'm going to go in there and get better today, not go in there and survive. You know, I think once you get the players to that, and because of the success that they had this year, and I know Willie well, and I know how they work, I think we'll be able to take off and get that started quickly.
Coach, it was a pretty big deal around here with WKU UK. Do you expect to keep the UK in Louisville every year as the top program in the state?
Well, we do. You know, like I said, it's a process, and I watched that game, and it was a great game, great 2-point call. I can tell you that. But it was a great football game, and what we need to do is go out and first compete with them in recruiting, and not be shy. Go out and try to recruit the best players in the state, and get the best players in the state down here, and then do a great job. In our philosophy, will basically be go south, like I did when I was at Louisville. So you're able to recruit speed and recruit players that grew up in football. You know, when I was the the assistant coach at Jacksonville, my boys were 9 and 11, I think, and they were in Pop Warner football. Their schedule was they would have Monday off, they would practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday night they had a team meal and watched video and played their games on Saturday. So guys that grow up with that understand that this is what you do in football on Friday, this is what you do in football on Saturday. Because being a student athlete and playing major college football is tough. You know, we use up their time. They're basically 7 o'clock breakfast check. They're in class. They have position meetings. You go practice. You have dinner after practice. You go to study hall, and you might get back to your dorm room by 9 o'clock. So it's a tough thing for young men to do. And they have to be very dedicated and very committed to doing that.
Todd, if Paulie Petrino goes 10-2 and leaves after the year, does the hire still work with you?
That's a great question, Clay, and the important thing is that we get better. And if we get better and we go to a place we've never been before, then he's done his job. And I'd like him to stay here for a long, long time. But if we get better and he develops our players and makes a difference in their lives like he has everywhere else he's been, and we go somewhere we've never been, then he's succeeded at a high level here just like he has everywhere else.
One more question.
Coach, WKU football has been quite a roller coaster ride over the last couple of years, from not winning a game all season to string together a bunch of wins at the end of the year to beating rival UK, and now going to the first bowl game in FBS history. How do you build on such an improvement like that from being 0-12 to 2 7-win seasons?
Well, you know, I talked to the team today, and that's what I told the seniors I was so impressed with, and why they'll always have a place in this program is that they took it from becoming a Division I football program to competing to going to the first bowl game. And they'll always have a special place here because of what they've been able to do, what they've been able to accomplish. So in one aspect, my job is a lot easier than Coach Taggart when he came in. because he had to build it like that, and I'm able to try to build off of his success and the foundation that he has laid for the program.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
All right. Well done. Here we go.
Jeremy, how are you? Nice to meet you. Let me put that hat on.
Yeah.
All right.
Track 5, take 2.